You know, it has been a little over 2 years since we lost former Boise State football player Dan Paul. It happened suddenly and way too early in his life. His legacy now lives on, though, with the Dan Paul Hammer, one of the more meaningful traditions at Boise State. During Dan's playing days, those that know him say he perfectly embodied what it means to be a Bronco. Now one current player respects the tradition so much that he's trying to add to it. The life of a long snapper involves so much, yet so little.
All special teams, we got the one rep mentality, go out and do it perfect.
A single mistake can wreck a game in an instance.
We've got a big challenge always of making sure that we're locked in mentally.
While a perfect performance will likely go completely unnoticed by the public eye.
It goes back to the blue collar mentality that we go out and give our best effort for the team.
Boise State senior long snapper Daniel Cantrell is one of the best in the country at what he does. A fact that probably hasn't even really been brought to your attention. He doesn't snap for stats, but rather for a symbol.
Every snap I get, I try and get the hammer.
One that perfectly embodies his sacrifices and selflessness, along with his passion, talent, and work ethic.
It embodies blue collar spirit and just being able to sacrifice for the team, so that's what that means to me.
Born and raised right here in Boise, Cantrell was a star linebacker at Bishop Kelly High School. Growing up, a single vision became the fabric of his football phenomenon.
The hammer meant a lot to me.
And the attitude of a specific player was hammered into his spirit.
I learned more about Dan Paul and his legacy. He was just a man for the team. Everybody could go to Dan Paul for his help with anything, and he would always leave it all on the field on special teams.
During the 2019 season, Cantrell got the opportunity to lead the Broncos into battle with the Dan Paul Hammer not once.
There's nothing like it, especially at home.
But twice.
And then even at away games, whenever you just get to hear everybody booing, and that's also thrilling. But a home game it's just a different level.
They were two unforgettable moments that highlight a career successfully lived in the shadows of the spotlight.
He is our special teams leader. He is in our leadership group. What he does, how he works, what he's contributed to this team, who he is, how consistent he is every day, the mentality he brings.
The tradition and honor have meant so much to him.
My dad has gotten into forging.
That this offseason, Daniel and his father decided to pay tribute to it.
And we decided we wanted to try and build the hammer since this is my senior year.
There's someone who can probably make a pretty sweet hammer to carry on the tradition. That's Danny and his dad.
For the first time ever, the Dan Paul Hammer isn't a store-bought piece of hardware, but rather a handcrafted, perfectly pressed piece of pride that fits the mold of how and why this tradition was fashioned in the first place.
It's definitely something I'm super proud to be a part of. I think this fits right in with our ideals, and it's really brought us all together and connected me even more to the program.
Constructing the new hammer required sacrifices and selflessness, passion, talent, and a strong work ethic.
We were really working hard on it the last month before fall camp. So you have to heat up the hunk of steel, so that takes a while. And then making sure when you're using the press, you don't overpress it, you don't squeeze it too much. And then our neighbor was kind enough to engrave the Bronco head and then the lettering onto the handle for us.
And the final seal of approval came when Daniel revealed it to the team.
It was awesome. I feel like everybody was super excited to see it, and even before the game, everybody was wanting to go just look at it, get a closer look at the hammer, which was great.
It's a pretty nice piece of work, Jay, and you know, it symbolizes too who he is as well.
Just days later,
we already knew he was going to carry out the hammer for the first game. He didn't know that.
Cantrell led the Broncos onto the field against UCF. The weight not of the object, but rather its legacy more noticeable than ever.
Just knowing that I made something for this team that's made so much impact on my life, it's pretty awesome, I think.
The Dan Paul Hammer. It's a tradition that has molded Daniel Cantrell, and now he can say that he helped mold this tradition, a standard worth its weight in steel.
What really made me want to do it was just to leave Boise better than how I found it and give something to the team and the program that means a lot to me and means a lot to the program to hopefully instill the spirit of being a special teams player, just like Dan Paul, his legacy, keep that going throughout all the next generations of Broncos.
You know, we talk about the Dan Paul hammer so far this season. Daniel Cantrell, Brandon Hawkins, and this weekend, DJ Schramm will carry out the hammer. And those are guys that rarely make our highlights, but one could easily argue they are a big part of the heartbeat of the team, and a big reason for Boise State's success is because of guys like those guys. Now, each and every year, at the end of the year, the hammer is awarded to the guy that carried that responsibility the most throughout the year. I asked Daniel what he thinks about that. He's hoping his hammer stays in the program a little bit longer, but him and his dad might consider making a few more in the future. It'd be a cool tradition, I think. Either way, that thing is awesome, and I think it gives so much more meaning to something that already carried so much meaning.
Yeah, and the coaches decide each game day who gets to carry it out. Obviously, a huge honor.
It's always kind of an unsung hero, if you will. Again, somebody that might not make our highlights, but somebody that provides the heartbeat of the team.
All right, Jay, thank you. Great story.